Hi guys, I'm ExactChaos and welcome back to another episode of Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. Okay, in the last episode we started laying out this area here for the oil industry. And so we've got all of our oil pump jacks and everything in here, lots of piping and so on. And what I did say is in between episodes, I'll quickly lay out the piping. It took me quite a while to get something that looks reasonable, okay? And at the same time allows infrastructure to come through here. So what you would also see here, let's pause it for a second while we quickly talk through what I've done. So we did lay out the refineries and all of our fuel storages and our oil loading or liquid loading and unloading area over here. And we've got the train coming in to build some stuff here. That stuff's a little bit above ground. We might redo them just a little bit to see if that all works, but generally speaking, everything here is fine and working. What I did do now as well is I've added, let's quickly switch on this stuff here. I've done a little bit of digging over here. We can use the natural terrain here to get a tunnel to go underneath our highway and our rail over here and join in from the outside. That'll give us a nice little area to get into. This will then facilitate a loop to turn around and go back. Similarly, this will facilitate a loop to turn back if we do decide to join it in that direction. Alternatively, yeah, this one won't be able to turn. So if anything, we'll need to loop that one to go back. So I've got the rail going all the way around here, and it kind of neatly threads the needle between all of our pump jacks, and I've got all of our pipes in place as well, and our road network. Oh, we're missing a little slither of road network over here. Which is doing that. So anyway, these roads will be fairly low utilization roads, so I'm not too worried about crossing the rail with them. Though here we need to cross it a little bit more properly, and that's why we've got the bridge. I did rebuild these bridges to allow for road connections to go underneath there in addition to the rail. So that we can actually use this as a bit of an interchange to get people off the highway back into this various directions. So I may look at a little something here to try and smooth that out a little bit over here. Maybe we'll get a little, anyway, we'll have a look at that in a little bit more detail in this episode. Just wanted to kind of show what I did here. So all of these pump jacks are now connected via pump to the oil storage, into the refineries, and back into our storage area. So what I'll quickly do is I'll quickly have a bit of a look at finalizing the road and the rail network. Now, one thing that I think is quite appropriate is potentially for us to do another rail bypassing this for a station. So let's quickly do two things. Let's clear out. Oh, I don't think it can. No. I think let's go underneath here. Oh, this was the reason for it. Okay, well let's try and redo this, right? If we were to remove that and we trim that back a little bit and we take the underground here, so that is clashing, right? So let's go down a little bit and then up. So let's go underneath it instead. Okay, so that should work a little bit. At the same time, I might actually quickly redo at least sections of this. If we were to, let's clean out this one. And what we'll do is we'll restart it here. And what we'll do is actually, let's go straight. Drop it down a little bit more. I think that's going to be just fine. And then we'll come and do a little bit of a turn like that. I think that should be okay. Similarly, we can clear out this one, do a very similar story here. We'll go out, drop it down. Oh, actually, is that coming up? I don't know. Drop it down to 6 meters. Actually, if we were to do this, right? And run it, nice and cleanly along there, and then branch it off. We should be able to, yes, do that, and that should That should clean up what we had over here, so no more issues with that. Now, what I need to do in this area is actually provide a rail facility for passengers, right? So for citizen station. So let's have a quick look at what we've got in terms of stations. I need something reasonable. If we were to do something like this, I actually think this could reasonably work. Let's see if we've got something a little bit nicer than that. What is this? Something like that looks... Yeah, I don't necessarily think we need multiple stations. So maybe something like this with a platform over here actually looks pretty nice in this area. But maybe that's not necessarily the one. This one is just a single side. I don't think that's the one we're after. This one is a bit longer, and similarly, that's also just a single side. And then we've got this one. That's nice and tight, really. So if we were to squeeze it in over here, and we do need to bear in mind that our primary function for this is to make sure that we've got that rail connection in through here. So I guess what we're trying to do, I don't necessarily think we need to loop in both directions, right? We could make this a little bit of a one-way loop coming off. Now, in that case, we will have to cross over in one of these locations. So it might be feasible for us to come off. Now, I'd rather come off a little earlier there, and then run it straight through there, then dual track it, and then go back out into that broad direction. Okay, let's do a couple of things first. So first things first, let's get a little bit of a straight section coming out of there. Okay. And then let's try and tie these in a little bit. So let's do something like that as a bit of a tie-in. That remove the train over there. Then if we were to do this guy in a location such as this, I'm just thinking, yeah, we could do a little bit of a bridge section in there. Now, what we want to do is make sure that we've got, okay, so let's do something like that. And then what we'll do is we'll do a little straight section through there, and we'll have to tie it in something like that. So that's pretty tight and close. And then what we can also do is we could do like so. So now we just need to bear in mind that we've got, what we could do all of that in like one intersection here, right? So if we were to do something like this, we should be able to run it through there. So let's do that. Clean out all of these paths, please. So let's trim back that and trim back that. This is unnecessary. We don't need to reconnect that, but we will need to reconnect something. And then what we could do is we could tie that one in over there. And do we have room to do this? We do. Do we have room to do that a little bit more aggressively? Not really. So the best thing we could then do is try and trim that out as early as possible to make room for another. Wow, that does look quite nice. So we could do something like that. Gives us room for multiple trains to be waiting there. Actually, we could even extend it a little bit more. So let's do that and extend it even further. Say something like that. And actually, what we could do, that's not quite the plan. That doesn't seem to want to work. That really doesn't want to. If we switch off the snapping, I guess that will kind of work. And then we redo snapping there. Yeah, there we go. So that kind of works to give us long area of area. So this bit of a complex intersection over here, but it allows us plenty of room for people to kind of stop and wait. Now, what we can do is, of course, we can reconnect all of these things so they don't... Ooh, that's a little awkward. But I will let it go for the time being because I think that actually works. So let's get those sorted out. So I think this is fine. Let's just get our road connection reconnected through here. I believe this will work. Yeah, that'll work. Actually, it will work well. We won't reconnect that. And what we'll do is we will continue to, well, now we'll need to look at what we actually do with this. Do we need all of this? Instead, maybe we'll just connect it over there. Yeah. Okay, so instead of that, let's trim out. Oh, the reason I did this was in case we want, well, we don't need to, right? So now it's just in case there's a little bit of a delay here because we've got a dual direction system going. So in case in the event we've got a bit of a wait going on here, we may choose to use one or the other. So coming in from this side, so I want to do that so that at least we could use either in both directions. Okay, so let's do that. Let's trim back this road again. Let's not demolish everything. It wants to demolish the entire thing. Okay, well, fine. We'll redo the entire thing then. So let's do that. Now, what I also thought we need to do to make this kind of work, let's see if we can't. Yeah, I want to not get too crazy with this. I guess that's about right over there. And of course, that working. I think that is working as a tie-in. It's a little awkward there, but at least, well, I'm not sure it's really. Let's trim it back. Let's try it one more time. Let's quickly remove these nodes here. Now it's a very slight hill there. Might be a little bit steep for these guys, but generally speaking, I think we're okay. Now, what are our other options here? If we were to go back here, I kind of like this straight through here, but that, oh, hang on, it's not there. It's the straight through is, I don't like that, right? If we were to do this and that, I think that is in fact quite appropriate there, right? And we do this same turn. Well, do the same over there. I like that. So this is going to be a very minor alteration through here, and then once you get out of whatever that tunnel is, you can make your switch, and you could go into either direction. Now, it makes me think that maybe I should pull all of this stuff back a little bit as well. So let's keep going straight. Actually, just trim it back to tie it in. So, something like that instead. Right. We did that work. Beautiful. I think that is quite a nifty little set of industrial tracks running through there. So I might go ahead and just finish off that little track section. Gonna say go ahead with this track section. It's not quite, we still need to do some work over here to get across to this side, and that's something we'll work on next. But I'll let the game start running for us to do that. Before we do start the running, I just want to make sure that we are reassigning these bridge sections to be constructed. We'll come back and do the interchange after the fact. I think that's going to be just fine. So we'll get some construction going over there at least. And we do want to restart work on the rail also. So grab me the rail station over here, which should have lost out on a couple of these things. Yes, so let's get a little bit of action going on yet again. So that section and that section needs to be constructed, and then they can kind of do their thing, run into any of these things, and we should be able to do a nice little loop. So now the idea being here, we'll need a T-junction here so that this, unfortunately, actually, that is not going to work, because we can't come back on ourselves here, and we can't come back on ourselves there. So this loop is purely in that direction. We won't even be able to get into that direction. So okay, so that means that we will, maybe we do both directions instead then. Let's just do both directions. We'll get a bit of a more complex arrangement going here, just to give us that ultimate flexibility to go back into either direction. I'm just a little cautious that we don't want to overdo some stuff here. So let's trim back here and there just a tad. Okay, and then the idea being here, we would like to find a completely separate connection if at all possible. So something like that, right? Completely okay with that. And that's okay. We'll do something like this. At the same time, what we'll need to do for something like this is that at some point we'll need a crossover. And similarly, we'll have to do something very similar on this side also. So let's re-establish it again. So if we were to say hug that one and then hug this one, like this is looking pretty good. Can we then do, I guess we can then do that. If we were to do something like this, could we do something like that? So, right? I guess that's okay, right? That's going to be reasonable. Now, the question mark around this is we'll need to, at this stage, I think, over here, need to do a switch as part of what we're seeing over here. Now, the switch in the intersection might not be ideal. So can we then potentially do a switch over here somewhere? I guess we can. I guess that is feasible, that we do a switch over there instead. Yeah, I guess that's fine. So let's redo all of this. We'll get all of that to go. Now, at least we could go into both directions. And then what would the plan over here be? That we provide our switch over here, or somewhere in the middle? I think somewhere in the middle gives us a little bit more flexibility. So if we in that case do this as a switch, then it means that we still have a storage and space on both sides. So there can be one coming in here. There won't be one coming in there. And I guess that's the issue, right? But then coming out this way, yeah, I guess that's fine. In the middle is going to be just fine. Okay, so let's leave it there. What I do need to do is reconnect this guy. So I'm guessing that is the plan. So we'll try and do something like this. And then what we'll do is we'll trim that back, this back. And, well, we could kind of do a rough, not what I wanted to do. We could do a rough turn like this. But I guess what I'd rather do is run. Well, I want to try and run our road network in the other direction. So we won't be able to really tie in over here, but what we could do is maybe give ourselves a little bit more room up this area here. So something like that potentially could be a reasonable tie-in point. We'll then come back and tie this path to there, that one like so, and that one like so. So that all of them are tied in. At the same time, what we'll need to do in order to really make an interchange work here is we'll need to and what I will do is I'll actually just run it from over there. tie it in like this, but also potentially at the same time I'll tie it in like that. So there's multiple access points over here, and what we'll need to do is we'll need to get a little bit of a maneuver in here. So the idea is that we are going to do a right in, right out off of the highway on this side, and similarly on the other side as well. So let's do something very similar on the other side. That's pretty minor there. So what we'll do is we'll do a little straight section like so, and you know what? We'll probably try and maybe we trim that straight section back just a tad, like that. Give ourselves a little bit more room for the maneuver around here. And what we'll do is we'll try and straighten up this side as well a little bit. So we'll trim that back to about there, and we'll tie them in like so, in which case we could still do a little maneuver into that general direction. We'll do some similar stuff over here. So we're going to have even less room to maneuver on this side. But I guess that's the idea. So just want to double check we can, in fact, do this. Seems to be reasonable. Yeah. So we'll find something to work here. Okay, we just need to find the spot there. That gives us an interchange to that side and an interchange to this side. And it's not going to be an easy loop, but we have connectivity to go in all directions. So the question might be, do we then provide another tie-in point somewhere over here? I guess not really. And the question might also be, do we ultimately leave enough room here to bridge this? And I guess the answer is we should provide a potential room for a bridge here. So just before we finish this off, I'm just going to trim this back to about there. I'm going to trim this one back. That is going to be the spot. So the only thing we're going to do is we're going to try and provide our access point as close as possible to the piping system over here. Something like that. So that gives us that room over there to bridge. And similarly, this will give us this room over here to bridge. But before we tie that in there exactly, let's trim that one back and go for get the F4 switched off. So we'll get it nice and tight like so. So that gives us some room for bridging on both sides. We should be in a reasonable position to run a bridge across here in the future if we deem it necessary. For now, I think we're not going to do it. We're just going to leave it as is, and we'll deal with that. The only other thing I guess we should be doing is providing ourselves with a bit of a service roads kind of situation. Yeah, probably not all the way over there. So something like maybe something like that. And maybe something like this will give us a reasonable access point here. Let's quickly double check that that is feasible. Ooh, hang on. Switching back to snapping. Switching back to snapping will give us some reasonable access points over here. And that side, turn doesn't work. That one does. And this one does work as well. So that gives us access points to the oil in area. Okay, perfect. So let's start playing the game yet again. Let's go back and reassign. These guys a little bit because they must have lost out yet again. So these are, they're all done, are they? So let's do the continuation of those. Let's get started on track building over there. I think these are, in fact, signed for construction. Yes, that is. So that should work quite well. What I'll also do is I will assign, well, not assign necessarily, but I'll activate the pipe stuff over here. Now, I did see a name suggestion for the area, and I think I'm going to make use of it just because I think it's pretty cool. So I get the question a fair bit, and people do comment about it a little bit in the comments around me being, well, where I'm from and so on. And I'm from South Africa originally, and the big oil company in South Africa is called Sasol, and there's even a city in South Africa called Sasolburg, which is kind of where their oil refineries and everything is located. And I thought that was an excellent suggestion to call it Sasolgrad. So I guess this area will be Sasolgrad Refinery, and this will be Sasolgrad as a city. And I guess that's what we're going to do over here now. So let's try and do those renames quickly. So grab ourselves, where was this? It was name the city area over here. I think that should be okay. So pop that one in there, and we'll name this Sasolgrad Refinery. Okay, so that's Sasolgrad Refinery. What I'll do is I'll remove this one. Oh, some buildings will be outside of this area. Okay, well, let's clear that one out. Let's bring it. Well, let's try and bring it a little bit closer to this side. Well, anyway, let's do this side here. We'll call this one first Sasolgrad. So let's grab it. We'll get it in here. I hope that's fairly central and will work. So we'll do that. We'll call that area Sasolgrad. Sasolgrad. Thanks for the suggestion, by the way. I think it's pretty cool. Then can we delete this? Yes, we can. We won't. I don't think we'll be able to delete this, right? This one won't actually work. Okay, so that's fine. So what we'll do now is over here, we'll have the next one probably in this spot here, a little bit closer to this side. So let's get another name in here. Maybe, yeah, just something like there. And we'll say, ooh, oh, there's another one in that spot. Well, let's see. Maybe we can get rid of it. So say Sasolgrad Refinery. Sasolgrad Refinery. It's going to start snowing soon. And then can we get rid of this? Will that work? It will. So Sasolgrad Refinery over here. And then can we get rid of this one? I hope so. Exactly. So there we go. Sasolgrad and Sasolgrad Refinery is in place, ready to go. Now, excellent. So I want to lay out our Sasolgrad area over here and do some other infrastructure connections between the two as well. Let's just see what's happening on this side. Construction is going along pretty smoothly over here, so that's reasonable. I'm going to keep an eye on things like happiness and health and so on as these kind of buildings open up. We are going to potentially have some issues. So let's see, can we get everybody connected? Yeah, the one we cannot get connected is this one over here. So I guess that means we will want to do at least one more of these. Probably this guy, right? Yeah, so we'll do one more of these over here in this corner. When we tie it in there, it should be just fine. So let's do that. Get another one in place. No, that's not what I want. This instead. Clear that out, get that started, and get a few people assigned over here. Once that's in, oh, we can also do that connection over there, make a start on that, get that assigned as well. Eventually even get these two assigned to come and work on that. So on this side, we still need to kind of tie in some of our areas. So the idea would be, well, let's try and get them pretty tight over here. So if we ran it something like that, I wanted to run it pretty straight. We've got a heating problem. If we were to do that and we were to do maybe something like this and get that assigned, we'll get number 3 onto it. We can even get the helicopters onto it, and then we can get the access point on this side as well, and that should hopefully get these get all of these people the ability to actually access the sporting ground over here for some sporting activity. So that would be cool if we can make all of that work. People living here already, and they should have access to reasonable amounts of stuff. They shouldn't be without food and the like. So we're going to keep an eye on this. This is working, enough people working in there, and these are nice and filled up. I've linked them up to our distribution facility. So that area is looking pretty good. There's still a fair bit of stuff we could do. This should work just fine. We managed to fix our water problem in the old Cornoe harbor. So hopefully that's going to be just fine. Building is under reconstruction, and we're still seemingly having little bits of problems with this, right? Yeah, again we've got that issue. So I guess what I'm going to do is I've moved the guys over here, but I guess the bus station here, we should say, force citizens to step out of this vehicle at this point, transfer to point to another line, so let's see. Let's keep a quick eye on it. Let's get the next bus to come in. There's 26 people on that bus. This is 36 people here already. Now, what's going to happen is they're not going to get out of the bus, right? Because there's no one necessary to work here. If I did let them get out, they'd be standing around there and they'd be going to work somewhere at the end of that kind of travel time section. So I guess that's what we're going to try and do. Unemployment is too high. That's another building that would open up. So I guess that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to take this. I'm going to say, you will get out, because they're pretty useless in the bus anyway. So you will get out at that stop. Let's save it. So now the intent is that even though there's 37 people working in there already, the bus will drop off however many it has on board, 0, which is very unfortunate. So we can't actually test it right now. Obviously, these trams and stuff are still also running. There comes the next bus. Let's have a bit of a look at that. 0 on that one too. That's not great. I'm really not a fan of us struggling so much with the buses. I do wonder if we lost all the citizens on the bus due to the change in the line. Interesting that it goes back over in there. Oh, it's going to go and fill up. There's a fuel station on the way on that side, which is good. That's fine. Now, I want to double check the next bus to come in. There's big gaps between these buses, which is also not good. And now we're without workers, and there's no power, no workers whatsoever. Nothing at all. So let's immediately flip our power back into the import maneuvers. Start importing some power for us so we can get the guys to run a little bit. See, immediately when the power stops, we start having prison problems. So let's import some power on this side as well. So get us working, just so we can get our, so we can get these guys back here. It's amazing how much trouble we have. I'm kind of tempted to drop off some workers from every single. Here it comes. This one should be allowing that. Is it dropping off? Oh my goodness. So now they're just kind of hanging out over there for a few minutes. So that's not good either, right? So I just want to see what's going to happen here. Even more in there now. So what's going to happen at the end of this shift? They're just going to disappear? Yeah, they just disappear. Okay, so that's not the right way of doing it. Let's go back in there, go to this one. We'll say instead of doing that, we just say you just get out. You just get out over there. And everybody should just kind of find their way to somewhere to work. So I guess that's the only thing we can do, is to try and make sure that all of that does in fact happen and work well. Okay, let's go back here and we say, go back to export, and we'll export maybe 50%. And then over here, we'll go back to export. Actually, we'll just go back to maybe 10% export over on that side. I think that should be okay. So let's see. I think this is kind of okay for the time being, but that will effectively have the same effect as our previous version of it. This is getting along okay. We're building. These things are building. These should be... Yeah, we've got this ready and loaded, and people are getting to where they want to go. Let's have a quick look at where you can actually access from here. So you can walk to the station, no problem. Can you walk to the station from over here? You cannot. Not from that one. From this one. Also, this one you cannot. But this you should be able to. Yes. Okay. So these buildings are effectively the last ones getting us to the station. It's okay to have a couple of buildings that's not actually accessible to the station, because there are things like this that's in need of workers. So hopefully that does the trick for us. Okay. So hopefully we will keep things moving with that. So things here has started construction. We did finish off this, and oh, now we've got a ton of workers coming in here as well. Okay, I guess splitting it across 2 facilities is not necessarily the end of the world. We'll be hamstrung by workers much more so than anything else, I think. Yeah, we're doing a reasonable job with keeping all of this going. So that's okay. As quickly as we can import iron, we're creating this, and having the extra steel is absolutely fine. I am going to just quickly finish these off. We're not actually using these rail tracks, but getting the rail guys to actually come and build this with this active railway line it's a little bit of a problem. So let's just, and I'll do for safety, I'll just click them like this. And to be honest, they're not even electrified, so I might quickly do the electrification of them as well, just to make sure it all does work. So that's okay. This section here, I think, is not electrified. So let's do that. I'm going to do an electrification over there. So let's just do that. Can we, hang on, can we can't assign this, right? These guys can't possibly do that. So oops, I did not want that. Okay. So now, oh, this section is not done as well. Okay, well, let's just finish off. Get all of these done. And then this area should then really be done, right? Regardless of whether we use this or not. Is this one running? This one is not running. So I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe we don't actually use this one right now. Let's just trim this one back, so we won't use that one. We'll just use this one over here. But we'll have the other one to ramp up as soon as it gets ready. So that's kind of where we're at. Okay, good. It's going to start snowing very soon. All of these guys aren't doing anything, so I guess what we want to do, but we need a fire station, right? So, okay, so that's the one side of things here. The other piece is we are going to need, yeah, that's a new building. So we'll need a fire station. We'll probably need, okay, hang on. We need a few things. So we will need one of these guys, right? At least one. In a location such as this, so that we can actually tie in both of them via path network. So we'll go ahead and do maybe something like this. So we've got that assigned. At the same time, then we might also just do the fire station right over here as well. So let's grab ourselves a fire station, which will be right over here. 8 vehicles, 2 vehicles. Is there a 4-vehicle variety? It's just the standard. This older one is going to be the 4-vehicle variety. I think I'm going to be very comfortable placing it kind of right over there. And then we want a reasonable bus station as well. Though one thing that I did wonder about was yeah, let's just do a bus station. Let's not go crazy with this. Are we out of power again? It really frustrates the hell out of me that this is what we're ending up with, right? I'm not dropping people off. We're running out of power. All these kind of things. It's really annoying me now. So I'm gonna build this thing. This thing needs to be built. Okay. Let's get 3 and 4 assigned here, and there, and there. And we'll start building out on this one. What this needs to do is this guy needs to start storing coal. There's no power supply over here, so we do need to bring in a little bit of power to try and get all of this stuff running so that we can get coal here. But let's start the construction, because I've had it I've had it with this and the zero resilience that we have in terms of power. So once this starts getting into place, we can power the rail from this side as well. So at least we've got some extra power going straight into the rail. So the rail can continue to perform even though the rest is not. Okay, so we had lots of production issues. We'll clear that out and we'll continue. I'll continue our journey there. Okay, this is getting built pretty nicely. Is that under construction? I just want to see. That is starting to get constructed there. I guess up to here is safe for now, but we might do a little bit of a change maneuver over on this side. So I guess that's going to be okay. No problems. But what we will do is we'll assign at least multiple vehicles to it, so multiple officers to it so that they can move along. We need to do some work over here, but we'll get to that in a bit. So that's our fire station there. Now we need a bus station. So let's go over here. 4 citizens, a bus station itself, the bus platform, not this station. This bus station is not quite what we have in mind here. So it's a little bit overkill for the situation, but maybe something like this will be a nice little feature. Now we note that they'll probably come in from that side. So I think that's the situation there. So we could. Okay. So we'll have to. Let's do it. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to have it nice and tight over here, so the bus station is fairly central. So let's place the bus station in over there. What we will do is we'll trim back on that a little bit, and we'll grab me this. We may need to. Okay, so we'll do that. That gets us the bus station into this area, can go into any kind of real direction, go back in that same way. So it'll be a long distance. So we will need to have a look at some level of interim connectivity over here. So we'll have a look. Yeah. Okay, I could come in from that side too. No problem. Okay, so that's it. That's the bus station. We'll need to do some path arrangements over here. So we'll need to, we'll look at that in just a minute. So that's the bus station, fire station. We need power and water and sewage and all these kind of good things over here. But before we get into that, let's have a bit of a look at what we can do over here. Now, Susselgrad, I think we'll get a little bit of we'll try and do a slightly more conventional grid pattern in here, apart from the fact that we're going to kind of have this main road that kind of tucks in over here. Susselgrad can expand quite nicely into the rest of this area, though I think that the plan would be, okay, my goodness, now I can't see anything thanks to this. Okay, so if we were to cut across there, we have an interchange that runs probably pretty close to this side, really. And in which case, I kind of wonder what we're going to do with the train connection, because we're going to run that through there also. So anyway, we'll get a kind of an interchange connection coming down here. So that's okay. So let's start by planning that one out like fairly central like that, right? But let's do something like this so it's not too crazy. So we'll do this. We'll kind of go like that. So now we've got multiple different access points, and we'll get these things connected through here. So it's not quite a bypass for all of this stuff. So I guess that's the plan. So let's assign it over there. Kind of happy to do that. Now what I wanted to do here is I want to do a bit of a grid pattern here as well. So let's get this back, and we'll say so we can run a little bit of stuff. Oh, it doesn't want to go straight over there. Where can we get it? Yeah, that's okay. Let's do that. Let's clear it out a little bit. I want to make it. I might want to make it reasonably straight, right, or reasonably square. I think that's going to be about right. But this one, I'm kind of tempted to do this. And tie that in like so. And this one, well, let's try and do something like that. do a little bit of this, right? So there we go. So let's do that as a bit of a road network here. Oh, there we go. Snowing now. And we'll, just make it pretty square over here. So I guess that's kind of the idea around the grid for Susselgrad. And what I'll do is I might do another little slither like this. Actually, we might take it a little bit there. Yeah, right under the name there. Get that to connect in that location. And even bring it in another section, tie it in. Yeah, something like that. That's pretty cool. This one will... I'd even do that, right? So I have reasonable little areas here. And this one, we might do something a little bit more, aggressive, like something like that. Off over there, and then we see about what it is that we need in terms of running these areas as well. And we'll do other connections, but I guess that's the kind of a very kind of grid shaped pattern there. Now we don't want to get overboard with this. Actually, let's not get overboard with it at all. So let's trim that back a little, and let's trim this one, because I want to see where ultimately we are going to need to run the station in somewhere. I guess the station, this little block here, might be a good spot for the train station. And we could even tunnel it across to the other side, but I guess that's getting a little bit out of this the spirit of the small town that we've got building here. So that's the start point for our town. Now let's get our train station in, because I guess that's going to be the primary piece of infrastructure that we're going to want to have a look at. Now the question is, do we do terminal station? We're definitely not doing metro. Do we look into a bit of a terminal station? So large train station. I think large is too big, by the way. It could fit here. Could fit here. It could fit... Well, we don't necessarily want to do that. Let's see what this terminal... I'm always kind of tempted to do something like that, right? It feels super realistic to have something that uses the edge of the road like we're doing it here to bring in our rail tracks, right? Though what we may have to do instead is do it all the way over here. I think that might be even more realistic. So I'll have a bit of a train station doing its thing on that side. So maybe if we get rid of that road connection, we'll do another one over here somewhere. Yeah, let's do that. Let's remove that section from the grid. We'll get our train station in there, and then we'll start looking at the other side of things. But I think we're probably going to almost put a cut in this episode so that we go from there. So let's start off with a little bit of a gap here. We can have people walk around to the other side. Yeah, I guess that should be okay. Let's just have another quick look at the train stations. Get ourselves a train station nice in the middle of Susselgrad here. I did like the terminal station. Do we have any other terminal stations that we can make use of? I guess the answer to that is probably no. We've got these nice-ish stations over here, right? We could use something like that, which is not going to be a terminal in any way. But we did see that we were starting to struggle with the other train station. So with that one, which is slightly reduced in terms of number of platforms, right? So I think we were planning, something like this maybe, which has only got the 4 platforms. I guess the 6th platform might be a good idea. So if we were to go with this, it really looks like a fairly nice fit in this central area, and we can still do a bit of a path there as well. So can we get this to be nice and square, right? Can we, if we were to really maneuver it? I guess that over there is what we're going to do as our kind of central train station. And we'll do the bus station. I guess the bus station needs to go somewhere else, right? Because we don't want them to necessarily overhaul all of these things. So we'll get that tied in. We'll get that one in there. Now we do need to get ourselves a rail connection running out. So let's get just get. We'll do it from the middle. Then we'll try and, yeah, so something like that, I guess, is what we're going to do here. Okay, and we'll tie that one in there. And so the idea here really is that we want to be tying these in as quickly as we can. Okay. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll continue to run these alongside each other for a little bit, but I think it's probably, anyway, we'll do a little bit more like something like this. And now the idea is that we will, I'm actually kind of tempted to do something slightly different. So let's trim this back a little bit. Let's just try this quickly. So if I trim back that, and I trim back that, right? I want to try something here. So if I were to do the outside, okay, so we'll do this and we'll do that, right? And then the idea here being that you tie in. Actually, it's not from that side. You want to run as direct as possible in there. And then what you want to do is you want to like switch off the snapping, I guess. And then you want to try and do that. Then we switch snapping back on again. Can we tie this in? Not quite, huh? Okay, so let's try this little slither again. Well, the idea being that we want to make sure that we're tying in as much as we can off of this kind of broad line. Oh, this isn't going to work because they can't get out. Okay. So don't worry about this. So let's do that. Let's trim this one back out. Okay. So I guess here all we need to do is do a few things like this. Let's switch off the snapping here. Can we switch the snapping back on? Can tie that one in there. That doesn't want to work, so let's switch off the snapping here. Could we potentially trim that out just a tad? Yeah, we want to. We don't want to necessarily overload any one of these. So let me go there, and now if we that's so close to working. I think. There we go. I think this should work. So if we were to snap it in from this side, come on. You know what? I'm going to trim that one back. We're going to switch off snapping. And then we're going to just run it over like so. Yeah, I guess that works. And we're going to... Oh, that actually looks really smooth. But I guess that does the trick there. And then all we need to do is get ourselves a little bit of a switch going on here. So let us clear these ones out, and we'll get ourselves a little bit of a switch in this area, and that should should sort things out. So what we'll do as a final piece is we'll get a bit of a switch about as long as we can bear it. Something like that should give us a very reasonable switch into multiple areas here. So that gives us gives us our railway line. And I guess, guys, that is where we're going to end the episode. The start of the planning for Sasolgrad over here. All of this stuff should be under construction, getting there underway. I want to, well, now that we've got this going, actually, I guess the very next step we should be looking at is tying this one in. So let's quickly build, well, let's do that and that, right? So that we can at least make a start on this. And then at the very same time, what we'll do is we'll grab these guys. Get the snapping back on. Come on. Yeah, we'll do a little bit of this. Do a little bit of that. Do a little bit of this. Do a little bit of that. Get that going. So that's the access point here. If we can get all of that to work, then at least we've got a very reasonable entry-exit point going on over here. So let's get our helicopter construction crews to start working on these sections, because I think that's what it's going to take to get them going. And then we've got access to this area to really start the building process. I guess that's the plan then. Okay, well, guys, I think that's been the episode. Lots of little bits and pieces, and we're starting to make progress on our secondary power station so that we can run out of this nonsense over here. I'll have to get that repaired yet again. But yeah, that's it for today's episode. So thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, please hit that like button. Please keep sending name suggestions, ideas for areas as they build them. I do like them a lot, and I tend to want to use them. So yeah, please keep doing that. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.